to speak to the heavens. Let's think about this for a moment. Even if you ask for a lot of food, we need some time. The sky can be, I will give you a day to consider. Couldn't be more. Answer me before noon tomorrow. He took a deep breath. Old schoolmate, you should agree. If not, I really don't want to see you on the battlefield. I understand, so let's make a deal for the time being. The conversation between Zhang Yi and the celestial figure. Lean against the soft salon chair. Warm and soft light from the downlight, covering Zhang's body. Young people start thinking. 10 hours of food is not a lot. Can be obtained from the warehouse of Taesun Base, or give him the top of the box. Suddenly remembered, right? There is also Prince Ming's warehouse. Canned foods are not used up. Those heavy things are filled with food. Getting enough 10 tea is not difficult. Supplies problems are easily solved with the translation program. But young people are worried. Can we trust him here? Young people don't need to use this warehouse. If you don't have to worry about outside danger, he can be fat. To find the supermarkets buried under the snow, for excavation and transportation. But Zhang Yi doesn't want to drink. I haven't seen the sky in a long time. People are always easy to change. They carefully think about their strategy. I can agree. But only a partial down payment. When the war ended, if you make me feel good, I'll pay the rest. Conversation this time with the celestial. It was a surprise to Zhang. However, it gives young people. Information is extremely important. The first is Zhang's hideout. They may face an attack. An alliance of 4 forces, largest in Tianhai City. The second attack will be conducted in a short time. Trong Yi is quite confident about the defensive capabilities of the refuge. These 4 houses do not have characters like Chen Xin. They can't dig missiles. Ra. To destroy the space below the buff floor of the hideout. However, the conflict between them and Jianji was not too deep. Not to the point where the dead live. If the benefits are not worth the risk, they will choose to abandon the attack. Trong Yi thinks logically. Prepare for the worst. Then fight a cruel battle. To move all the power. In Tianhai City, it can be exchanged for peace. The young man decided to cooperate with the youth base. In the living room, a quick meeting took place. The epidemic summoned everyone. Announced the basic situation again to everyone. Knowing you'll face an attack. Alliance of the 4 great powers. Everyone's face became so beautiful. Pressure this time. It can be horrible than fighting the Taesun base before. However, Yang Han calmly said, I don't think the situation is that bad. These 4 forces have an alliance. But in fact, there's mutual protection between them. Only Yang and Million Vu are 2 bases. There's a conflict with us. Sermons and the basis of love. They're just drawn in. There is no fundamental contradiction. They will hesitate to advance. It probably won't help at all. They don't die with us. If we can be convinced, base you don't go to war. Our pressure will be reduced. Everyone nods. The first agreed that Yang's words made sense. The king also spoke. Like our biggest point is that we're too small. If the East is more, we will be weak in the division of forces. Proposed translation. We can take advantage of the line to fend off the first wave of attacks. The young man looked out the window. The surrounding hiding place is not empty. There are 2 low mountains behind. It's a natural shield. Plus big snow. They couldn't come down from the mountain. So, We're mostly dealing with the enemy in front of us. In a wide angle of about 120 degrees. Put your hand on the map and draw a line. And distribution of fire. Our main forces are also concentrated in this area. Our goal is not to defeat them. It's to back them up. Make them realize we are the strongest force in the region. The translation continues. After the battle, we will negotiate with them, turning the surrounding hideout into a no-go zone, not letting them approach. Now, the word Fat frowns anxiously said. But even in the face of an attack at the same time, from both sides pressure is still very large. It seems like the first line of, we will be quickly defeated. And we're going to have to retreat into hiding. To defend. The current problem is, our two strongest points in defense. It's the old man's hiding place and the door to space. But if the enemy with so many people attack at the same time and using a variety of attack methods, SAO, if they had a method of destroying the hideout, so how do we do that? From Fat hands up. Even though SAO bases are flourishing, it also has a large amount of oil resources as fuel. They can use a lot of large-scale equipment and have the ability to transport them here. Even the enemy can have mutants with abilities we don't yet know about. Words of Fat. It brings a sense of stress to everyone. Mutants are always the most unstable. However, after hearing this, Zhang Yi was quite calm. These problems people don't have to worry about. If that happens, we'll deal with it. She is a supporter of peace. They don't like war. But that doesn't mean young people aren't strong enough. After the battle with Tay Sun Base, the fluid has absorbed the blood's energy. Mabel and 4 other mutants. The intensity of the current youth, no one can know. While everyone's having a heated discussion. Flowers, the cat is lying next to him on the sofa. Suddenly became alert and raised his head. Its multicolor eyes peering out the window. I made a few meow sounds. This cry is filled with vigilance. See the seriousness of the flower. People also feel stressed and rushed. Turn to look outside, flowering with the instincts of a mutant creature. Intuition is stronger than humans. They often discover things that people don't recognize. Outside the dark window, there's only light on the snow's surface. The snow is heavy, and the wind blows right through. It's like something strange is slowly approaching. From the snow, there's something coming. Procrastination of stitching. The yellow gun has appeared in the right hand. Young people go out to see. Quickly open the safety latch and carry the flower towards the window. Others see it too, quickly follow. No one dares to neglect it this time. They went to the window. Take out your binoculars and look outside. The young man finally spotted a shadow. Wear a red coat. In a snowstorm. It seems like an old man is struggling, step by step towards them. However, the epidemic is still very cautious. AI is not to be despised even as an old man. Because on a cold winter's night like this, not just the old, but even the young, nor dare to go out arbitrarily. Trong Yi speculated that maybe it was a mutant. It's just not clear what power this person came from, and carry for what purpose. The fluid is not sure, because it's nearby. The appearance of the second person was not detected. According to the theory, this old man came alone. Or he's confident in his own abilities. Or he believes that campaign and its team will not act against me. Whatever the case, he's got to have the trump card. At this point, Zhang Yi heard the view. Amazing voice. I recognize him. He is the Great Order of the Snows that we've seen before in the Music Lock apartments. Chu Kai Ni asked warily the sermon. What did they send someone to do this time? Everyone repeats this name. It's one of the four great powers in the city of Tianhai. Currently, the sermon is also the most mysterious and bizarre organization. The movement becomes serious, not out of mind. Phone conversations with celestial bodies. Today, the base of love and worship, Twyat. There is no direct conflict with young people. They're caught up in, due to the Yangtze base and the million weapon base. But everyone knows if there's no benefit. Nobody wants to participate either. So the celestial body was secretly associated with Zhang Yi. Want to avoid war? As long as you can get the benefits. While Zhang Yi was thinking, clear voice, as cold as the ocean. It's also coming from the side. As we know, the sermon and some of the other great powers. In Tianhai City, there is always a discordant relationship. If you want to break their alliance from within, then the sermon is the best breaking point. Put down your binoculars and say, but we don't have any good feelings either. With this cult, the sermon used to be cult. Famous during the period of no religious restrictions in that country, where many, the organization is considered by the Hoa to be a cult that exists. They suck blood and do a lot of damage, ruining their lives. Such an organization suddenly become the savior of the end times. Just think for a second. I also know it's impossible. Even the four bases don't like them. It's hard to let the guards feel sympathy for them. Yang Xin laughed and told Zhang Yi, however, if they are worth taking advantage of, then we can take a look. Nod your head. I totally agree with Yang's words. Collaboration is not based on personal preference. It's the value that partners bring. So he patted his shoulder from the fat next door. Go out and talk to him. Open the microphone and we'll show you how to talk. Face the strange old man who dared to come here alone. It's unclear what his abilities are, so I don't want to risk it myself. From Fat Panic, rush sorry old man. Among us, we are the weakest. I'm not the right choice to go out and negotiate. Dildo look from Fat. In an ice and snow environment, your ability can be at its best. Don't worry, we're here. I want to give him a chance to hurt you. Zhang Yi said, and held up the blue gun. If he has any bizarre behavior, we will defeat him immediately. From Fat, when seeing Zhang's steady gaze. You can't do anything other than suffer. Put on your combat gear and come out of hiding. All right, all right. Open the information device to be able to hear the conversation between them. Convenient. How to communicate with your partner. Young told detector from Fat, when you get out, don't let him get to the line. Don't let him find out our layout. A thick wall of snow and ice, hiding a large number of weapons. Even though it's hard to see after a blizzard. But Zhang Yi didn't want to take the risk in any situation. From Fat, there is no other way, rather than step by step to the outer lines. Waiting for the old man opposite. Come closer one step at a time. Meanwhile, the great order of the snow church. Slowly approaching the hiding place. Through the snow, I also saw the shadow of someone, from the ice and snow fence, step out. In his vision. It's clear. Abnormal gas in humans from Fat. By order of Zhang Yi, Fat words out loud. The law stopped and did not move any closer. Stop, no need to get close. Great Ordnance smiling. Humbly bow down and say hello. I see a strong light. Coming out from above you. Surely you're a great mutant. This word is made of Fat excitement, because in this hiding place, he's not usually considered a strong man. And this is the first time he's been praised like that. The smile on his face quickly disappeared when Zhang Yi asked him to ask about his identity and the purpose of the stranger well. Who are you, and why are you here? The Great Ordinance continues. I am the Great Order of the Snow Church. I am here at the will of the Cardinal, to see Mr. Trong Yip. He smiled. Are you sure you're not Mr. Zhang Yip? Finished talking, his eyes seemed to pierce through space. I saw Zhang Yi hiding inside. The strong gas made him feel the vibration. He seemed to see the sun glare in my eyes. Raise your eyebrows. This man came looking for me. The king reminded me. This old man seems capable. See the gifts of others. He came to me before, but I refused. But he helped the cause. Wake up to your skills. That nod is a really useful power. Especially when combined with the abbot's ability to bless. They don't have their stomach. It's a perfect combination. Dildo tutorial from Fat. Ask him what he wants to do. From Fat looked at the Great Ordinance and said, Our old man, you don't just want to meet. Everything you want to say it here. We can convey your words. To the old man's hand. The law is a bit surprising. He didn't expect Zhanji to be so persistent. No chance to meet. Reality. He's not a fighting mutant either. Even when standing in front of Zhang Yi, it doesn't pose a threat. But he really appreciated Zhang's work. In the end times, usually aggressive, of course, and vigilance is always the rule of survival. The law says, this time I'm here by order of the Cardinal. Bring in important news for Trong Yi. First grader. 3 days after the airfield. Millions of weapons and you will join together to attack his hideout. Hearing this information is not surprising. The young man knew the time of the attack. So the celestial form and the people of the snows to contact me. It also became clear today. They don't have much time to negotiate. The Supreme Court suddenly stood up and said seriously, these evil warlords. They're expecting sophisticated killing. It's destroying our beautiful home. They even want to deceive our Cardinal. Together to launch an attack against you. We're sermons. Always loyal and serving God. LAN radiates love and peace to the world. So we're very much against their proposal. So the Great Ordinance with a deep eye. Looking towards the hiding place. I hope to cooperate with Mr. Zhang. Hear the words of the Great Order. The smile on the lips gradually changed. It finally came as expected. The same thought. In Tianhai City, the 4 great powers are always at odds. There's no unity that can be said. As long as the interests are strong enough, they're willing to betray each other. Whether it's based on love or religion. They are waiting for the opportunity to sell each other. AI can now bring greater benefits. They will help that person. The epidemic feels more assured. The more conflict between them. Zhang Yi's chance of victory in the next battle. The higher. Young man motioned for the word Fat to ask what you mean. Sermon. They may not have joined the attack this time. Against us. But I can't believe the Supreme Court is shaking its head. If that's all, it's called collaboration. Flute lecture. We move towards love and peace. Resolute resistance against all evil forces. So, our Cardinal hopes to cooperate with you. Together against the other forces. At this time, Zhang Yi's eyes became sharp. The sermon is very ambitious. They even want to connect with me. To deal with other forces. I also heard Yang Shin Han say that snow is always in conflict with other forces. There are endless contradictions. If you have the opportunity to attack other forces, they definitely don't miss. Our sermons are the same. They have no context and no support. The other powers are afraid of our rise. We are the same people. They're all oppressed by other forces, affecting the need for survival. We should be together, against the hegemony of those powers. Zhang Yi said the word fat and asked them, want to cooperate? What do they have to do to prove their integrity? The governor smiled when he heard the question. Our cardinal knows that. The doctor is careful. If there's no evidence, it's worth it about our city. I certainly can't do it for you. Believe in the sincerity of the sermon. So this time, here we come to bring you a sacred object of the snows. Surely you will understand what we mean. The law says, and he took out of himself a little wooden box. Giving from fat. This is the sacred thing of the snow flute. From fat afraid of danger, do not dare to take. I asked him what this toy was for. The name sounds mysterious, but the function of this toy is unknown to the AI. After the word fat, asked the chief ordnance laughed. The function of the amber is very simple. It can help people to open up their spiritual aggregates, turn into a mutant. More so for mutants. It can also tap into its potential. It makes mutants even more powerful. Tang epidemic first. I remember you being in Shanghai for so long. I can't help but hear about this. That's right. Zhang's eyes flashed with wonder. Should be. This is the kind of magical power that comes out of nowhere. The young man remembered what the sword had said. It's called amber. It's a white mass like snow. A kind of soft body. Just plug it in your forehead. Is that it's possible to help them get their aptitude? The Supreme Court has advised. As he refused. She gave a sinister smile, ha. Use this to believe. Zhang Yi never believed that there is free lunch in the world. It's the use of an object to gain power. It's certainly not normal. You think that? I'll believe in your evil stories. This is called amber. Is there a point that hasn't been recognized? Tell him what I mean by fat. From fat, quickly convey the meaning of Zhang Yi. The Supreme Court remained calm and smiling. He seems to have predicted. The police will be suspicious. Ice is sacred. Definitely don't have any side effects. I can assure you of this. Because you're not the first person to get an ice cream. Formerly all for bases in Tianhai City. They have all asked us to provide. They've all verified it. You can't even trust SAO. What is this amazing translation? All 4 bases have used it. Firm stitching operation. Is the Supreme Court telling the truth or lying? Then ask Yang Xin. Please take a look at the material. Yang Xin withdrew the computer, hand out, and quickly investigate. Of course, she found information related to the gang. There's actually information about this. A group of first soldiers of the Taesan base, in which there are 2 people who have woken up to their skills with ice cream. It's because of this psychic awakening method that they're starting to study human transformation. Yang Shin Han suddenly stopped his words, looking surprised. According to the Taesan base, this ice, it seems to come from cells in the human body. I immediately understood the meaning of this information. It's called ember ice, are actually cells of the non-fake stem. Can't blame Taesan base have ever transplanted maple cells into someone else to make this innovative toy. Zhang Yi asked cautiously. Does this thing have side effects? Duong Han replied according to the record. The 4 bases, they've all tested the ice cream of the snow spear to create mutants. They've studied this type of cell. It doesn't detect any toxic substances. Can't manipulate the transplanted person through the cells. And sermons. It can grow to the scale it is today, thanks in large part to the use of amber tape, in exchange for living space. Duong Han Zan exclaimed, if this record is true, then amber is definitely a good thing. Looking out the window, silently thinking. Good things can turn ordinary people into mutants, without experiencing the risk of death, or helping mutants unleash their potential. Young people don't believe there's such a good thing. Even if it is, there will definitely be side effects. And even though there's no side effects, the police also dare not use it. Because young people always use the deepest suspicion to judge things unequivocally. With cold eyes, ask him, this toy, can it be used for normal people? The young man thought, I don't believe there's such a good thing. Although there are definitely side effects. After the word fat, asked the Grand Ordinance to give the answer. Its effectiveness depends on the potential of each person. So it's not the same. We've tested it, and found that when used on normal people, it only has a weak effect, but can certainly provide some extraordinary capabilities. Therefore, its use on mutants is most appropriate. The translation program hesitated to answer right away. You brought this from a distance, and I will receive it. From Fat get it, he'll consider using it later. The law does not hesitate. Immediately give items Cho from Fat. From Fat scene, the law acts comfortably. Not without asking. You're not afraid. We refuse to cooperate with SAO. I mean, are you being a little too generous? The Great Ordinance smiled mischievously. Even though SAO, the great powers are attacking us, you can't change the results either. Even though we can't cooperate, work makes you stronger. To kill more enemies, it's also a benefit for us. For us that say no holes. From Fat in Aesthetic Lab, this old man knows how to calculate. The doctor continues to ask, I know you want to use us to weaken other bases. But what's the purpose of your partnership? You're not just here to claim your benefits. Multiple ordinances follow. Until then, we will pretend. Let them attack your shelter with you. Of course, we're out. No power in the vicinity of a diversionary attack. But once we wait for them, they show up. We'll stab them in the back. After hearing the words of the great decree, erection in the aesthetic heart, it's a group of conspirators. The calculus lecture is really too sophisticated VI. These words sound as if they were on the sidelines. Then, waiting for the epidemic and other bases to fight. Then jump in the profits. More about whether they're going to do it or not. It will depend on Zhang's forces. And his team showed off raw SAO. If the epidemic and his group, the coalition was quickly defeated, the sermon will pretend to know nothing. This plan is actually kind of like a trick or treating game. The fisherman profited. And Zhang Yi had no way to refuse. Because compared to a certain enemy, being able to help is a better option. Thought then Trong Yi said, we already know if that thing really works. I will agree to your proposal. Decision to check. See how the amber works. Then decide. Great Ordinance smiling. I am sure you will be 7. We have shown our goodwill. Tang epidemic first. Maybe you need to show a little kindness. Right. A cold smile asked the opposite. The most difficult battle is that we are fighting. What else do you want? The police officer hurriedly waved his hand. You misunderstand what we mean. We need nothing from you. I just hope you can agree. After winning this battle, allow the snow missionaries in your territory. For the snowflake. Attract more and more people. In the light of the snow. It's what we've always wanted. Self-help missionary. Really, very much in line with the style of an evil cult. It's not just pulling people's heads. I have no opinion on this point. Young man, they only care about not harming their own interests. Other things the police don't care about. The young man's view of life is reduce worry about other people's problems. Even more so with Zhang's personality. I don't have time to pay attention to Taisan and Jiang Highway with other areas. So the young man said, as long as we can repel the enemy. No matter what conditions you ask, it doesn't matter. The Supreme Court is delighted, so we're waiting for your answer. At this time in the heart of Trong Yi also understood better. Originally, young people think that after defeating the Tay Sun base, it's easy to be the target of other forces. But now, everything seems to revolve around young people. Let other forces conflict with each other. Base bar, you are careful not to rush to expand. This has to do with their leader, a conservative steel worker. The sermon is small, but the potential for growth is enormous. Have a bad heart. Millions of weapons and the Yangtze base is eager to expand. The other forces are unclear. To expand the thought, currently the base maintains a neutral stance. There's a chance they won't intervene. Sermon, want to work with me again? To betray other forces. Smiling chapter full of meaning. The situation is getting more interesting. Even though young people don't fully trust these two forces, but only the rational interest. To make them betray the court and Yang. It's not too hard. It wasn't the allied powers until then. Fin scan translation. Zhang Yi will actively attack, in conjunction with internal allies, to hit them hard. However, currently, what the translation found most interesting, it's still to ice cubes. Ask the old man how to handle this. From Fat holding a small wooden box in his lap, a little worried. I'm afraid it contains a bomb. They said don't worry, bring it here. From Fat carefully carrying the wooden box to the door. And then collect it into the hyperspace. Whether it's a spy device or an explosive, in the heterosexual space can also handle well. The young man only saw 2 white spherical crystals, radiating gas welding and occasional gentle movement. After making sure of everything, open the wooden box to check. Didn't detect any abnormalities. To observe and ponder. This is the fake SAO state. To observe and ponder. It's been used by all 4 bases. That means it's stable and reliable. The 4 bases are not idiots. If it has side effects, they won't use it. He also saw the use of the sword. Then, does not appear any abnormal condition. Maybe the ice of the original is not. It's really just the key that helps people unlock their abilities. He grumbled for a moment and suddenly laughed. Are you kidding me? I don't believe there is such a good thing in this world. In the heart of Trong Yi, still half doubted. If only the people of the 4 bases used it. But the problem is, the Great Commission used it on Li's sword. In this world of the end of the world, AI also feels insecure. Everyone is thinking, how to be strong to protect yourself. There's a really carefree AI that comes to help others. Or not. Who is selfless enough to help others? But with the nature of the snow spear, Zhangji couldn't trust them. Even if you really want to teach the world. I don't believe it either. Always follow the simple principle. Except for yourself. Be suspicious of everyone and everything. He never wanted to take risks either. However, 2 amber can create 2 mutants. It's too tempting. Hard for him to ignore. While Zhang Yi was thinking, everyone's burning eyes were on him. Feel the air around you change. Can't help but raise your head. He saw the baby. The secret and 6 revelation. They were looking at him with eyes full of expectation. The conversation between Zhang Yi and the word, they've all been heard. Fat. And they also knew about the existence of amber. These 3 women don't have any special abilities, so we can only do logistics. Especially Yang Bile, her desire is the most obvious. You're less effective than the other girls. You're almost just a housekeeper now. Take care of the housework and help relieve pressure. She really wanted to get the bandage to become a mutant. Even if you are a normal person. He seemed quite calm again. I see no change in your eyes. With the intelligence of Yang Xin Han, you can naturally guess that. Amber ice can contain side effects, not clear. The members couldn't hide their curiosity. Yang Bai was the first to speak about Zhang Yi. 2 amber. Should it be used? Her question shows caution and guilt. Such a good thing worries you. Not eligible to use. Looking at them in my heart, I really mean it. If you don't use ice, it's a shame. But he's not comfortable using it on people. Your important friend. So we need an experimenter. Zhang Yi returned to the salon chair and sat down slowly. Everybody sat down to see what he had planned. The first is how to deal with ice. The second is the next battle plan. In the words of the Supreme Court, 3 days later, the coalition will attack. I can see the eager eyes of the women. Decided to solve the ice problem first. He calmly said, everyone just heard. Ice can help normal people wake up. The 4 great bases have also used it before. Currently, no one's discovered any of its side effects yet. But we're still not sure about it. I never believed that. The sky will drop a plate of cake in front of you. Translate finished. His eyes swept across everyone in the room. The soldiers in the group, I don't really care about the state. They are already capable to live quite peacefully in a hiding place, not really wanting to be strong. So they're not too interested in fake ice. There's a possibility of this side effect. The rest, except for the Hail Mary, normal people, all show a strong desire. Even normal people. Who doesn't want to be a mutant? To have extraordinary powers. In the end, the more power, the higher the chances of survival. Look towards them. You need to think carefully. These 2 amber ice cubes, we're only going to use one. The first person to use it will be a white rat. If anyone wants to try, raise your hand. That's what Trong Yi said. The faces of the women showed hesitation. They're hungry for power, but don't want to take unspecified risks. However, Yang Mi still decided to raise her hand. I am willing to experiment. In her eyes flashed a determined light. She is a woman who wants to be strong. You don't want to be just a worthless painting. When Yang Mi raised her hand, my son was also quick to follow. Even though Zhu Hai seemed hesitant, he raised his hand. She nodded and smiled at Yang Mai. Your will is strong. So, I've decided to let you use a demo. Aries with eyes full of joy excitedly hugged Zhang Yi's neck tightly. Thank you very much, Trong Yi. Thank you for giving me such a good chance. She looked at you carefully. Idiot, my love for you is as deep as the sea. I can take care of you if I don't take care of you. Say that out of your mouth, but in the heart of Zhang Yi thought differently. The right person was identified by him before. It's definitely Yang Mai. The first is as an experiment. He must be the least influential. If anything unexpected happens, damage will not affect normal operation. Of the refuge. Considering this point, in Team 5, there is only Yang Bai and Ju Hai USA. My son is at Dr. 6. It's obviously an important technical staff. They can't participate in the experiment. These two people need to be easy to control. Because Zhang Yi is also unknown. What effect will fake tape produce after use? If there are no side effects, it's like creating a mutant for nothing. That person must be his own. Combining both factors. Bile is definitely the most suitable option. Bobby can actively stand out. On the contrary, it saves a lot of translation work. The police asked her to sit down first. Then we'll discuss the battle plan. Next. The current situation has changed, and the whole base. Both snow flutes can be used. He said my view is, we should forget about taking advantage of these two forces. You can't trust any of them. They may just come to deceive us. And is capable of, they will temporarily betray us. So we still need to be well prepared. To face forces from four sides. If anything happens at the scene. He smiled in a devilish way. He crossed his arms in front of his chest. Our hiding place will become their grave. The battle plan didn't change too much. It's just the ability to improvise flexibly. Need to consider, the two forces become undetermined factors. And don't ignore any loopholes. After the discussion, what everyone expects the most. It's the use of amber on people. Yang Bile. AI is also curious about its miraculous effect, and how to use. The method of use is quite simple. Follow the instructions of the Great Ordinance before leaving. Just put it on your forehead. It will automatically integrate into the owner's body. For safety reasons, choose a solid room. Then tied up dildo on the bed. To do the experiment. The biliary appears to be expecting and tense. She was so excited that her whole body was shaking. Soft core. You're waiting for the transformation of your destiny. Move handle, clamping and gentle. Put an amber on Yang's forehead. People hold their breath, stress, but also full of expectations. Watch the scene in front of you. When the bang hits her skin, that appear as subtle curves as tentacles, attached to your head. Soon after, everyone witnessed. The amber melts out like snow. Into the head of the bile. It's an integration phenomenon. The cell is completely integrated into the human body. Yang's eyes became empty, losing focus. The whole process is fast. Less than 2 seconds. Amber tape has completely entered her head, leaving a white light on her forehead. It glowed and disappeared. There was a tired look on his face. Very quickly fell into a deep sleep.